Welcome to Top Shelf Book Club, a Mighty Books podcast segment where my sister, Emily McDonald, and I, Ryan Oliver, discuss presumably quality books while indulging in some top shelf liquor. So listen for yourself while we judge books to see whether they earn the right to be rated top shelf.
Just a little bit. I jumped a little bit.
Okay, you jumped.
Yeah, I jumped a little bit.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm sleepy. How are you?
You're sleepy? I'm sleepy. We can be sleepy together. So, what liquor are you sampling today?
Rosé.
You have some Rose A. I have Rose B.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what that is either. I just made it up. I'm sticking with my Bushmills whiskey.
Gots to.
I got to finish that off. You guys gave me for Christmas. I can talk today.
Absolutely.
Jesus.
Yeah, Chris will find you something good this year.
Yeah, I've still got a huge thing of Jameson to get through.
Yeah, we'll get you some more.
There you go. Change it up. You know what? Find something new and exciting or really crappy. I don't care. I'll figure it out.
Oh, he'll find you something good.
Okay.
If I let him loose in Total Wine, we can easily drop some good money.
He and I together in Total Wine would be very bad.
I would love to see it, though. Let me tell you.
I have all the things I want to try, and I have things I have tried, and then I think we could come together and literally bankrupt each other's households.
I was gonna say you guys would also probably influence each other to buy.
That's what I'm getting at. Yes.
Terribly amazing. Yes.
Good, bad influence. Bad, good influence.
Absolutely.
Whatever. I don't know.
Neutral?
Yeah. What's funny is neither of us are like alcoholics or drink very much. We just enjoy the occasional drink.
Chris used to. Now he's
really
almost 30, so he's feeling it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I love me a good drink. Usually at night, but during book conversations, obviously.
He likes a good mixed drink here and there.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're here to talk about a book, Ems.
I'm so excited. I love this book.
You do? I did too. This is my second time reading it.
I probably read it a couple times in middle school, high school. I don't remember though, because my memory is not fantastic.
Oh man. That's kind of a bad thing to have, bad memory while we're trying to recount an entire book. Just saying.
Well, the positive is that I take notes, because otherwise I would be like, there's a thing that happened. It was cool.
There are a lot of things that happen in this book.
It's
cool. So what is the book we're reading, Ems?
We are reading The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick.
And do you know anything about Brian Selznick?
Nothing.
Besides
that he wrote this book.
That's swell. Well, let me see if I can find something. Is he on here? Okay. So, Mr. Brian Selznick is the illustrator of many celebrated picture books and novels. Among them, the Caldecott Honor book, The Dinosaurs of Waterhouse. Never heard that. The Dinosaurs of Waterhouse Hawkins. And the New York Times Best Illustrated Walt Whitman Words for America, both written by Barbara Curley, as well as the Seibert Honor a winner. I'm not sure what that is either. When Marion Sang by Pam Munoz Ryan. I'm doing such a good job. Selznick has worked as a bookseller, a set designer, and a puppeteer. Cool. He lives in Brooklyn, New York, and San Diego, California.
Love San Diego. I want to go back.
I've been there once and wasn't really a big fan.
I've been there technically 3 times, but I didn't get to do much because COVID. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
The beaches are beautiful.
We did not go to the beach.
The whole reason you go to San Diego is for the beaches.
I watch our cousin's Instagram stories for that.
I want to be there in person.
I would rather, but I don't have that option always. Sir, can I help you? Okay. All right. That's fine.
Dog has entered the camera.
Hi.
Yes. Your boy King is here to enjoy the book too. Is he a big reader?
He likes to watch a good TV show. He doesn't like to read that much. Yeah. He likes to lay on my lap while I'm reading.
Fair enough. So does our dog. She does the same thing. So The Invention of Hugo Cabret.
Yes.
Would you like to read the synopsis for those of you who don't know what it is?
Is there a synopsis?
There is in the front cover, actually.
Oh, that's good to know.
I know, it's so helpful.
Okay, so Orphan, clockkeeper, and thief, Hugo lives in the walls of a busy Paris train station where his survival depends on secrets and anonymity. But when his world suddenly interlocks, like the gears of the clock he keeps, with an eccentric, bookish girl and a bitter old man who runs a toy booth in the train station, Hugo's undercover life and his most precious secret are put in jeopardy. A cryptic drawing, a treasured notebook, a stolen key, a mechanical man, and a hidden message from Hugo's dead father form the backbone of this intricate, tender, and spellbinding mystery. With 284 pages of original drawings and combining elements of picture book, graphic novel, and film, Brian Selznick breaks open the novel form to create an entirely new reading experience. Here is a stunning cinematic tour de force from I can read a boldly innovative storyteller, artist, and bookmaker. I was doing good till the last paragraph.
We're both kind of hurting. That's okay.
God, all right.
Don't drink and book. Don't drink and book, apparently.
You should always drink and book, but that's my opinion.
Fair enough. So, first off, before we really dive into this wonderful book, because I discovered it years ago, you discovered it years ago, we rediscovered it. It's amazing. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
If you have not listened to the first episode, we go deep into the story of our first book that we dove into. Then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to talk about everything possible, story-wise, illustrations, backstories, spoilers, all the spoilers. So
spoilers on spoilers on spoilers.
On spoilers, right. So please, if you want to read it and enjoy it for the first time, turn this off and go read it, then come back.
Yeah. Okay. Gotta remember to come back later.
Come back later. Don't just leave and never come back.
No. Yeah, come back later,
and hang out. This is what we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. You have been warned. I think I've rambled on enough about the spoiler.
If people miss it, that's their own fault at this point.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. You've been warned. You've been warned.
You have been very, very much warned.
Adequately warned. And also, this book is what? Back in 2008 it was published?
I saw it in 2007. Yeah.
It's been around a hot minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah. Won the Caldecott Award in 2008, which is, if you don't know what the Caldecott Award is, it's for pictures, for art.
Oh, did not know that.
It's a great medal. Yeah, it's a lot of the children's books get Caldecott Award by a lot. Most children's books, because they've got pictures.
Illustrations. Yeah.
So for those who have never heard of Brian Selznick or The Invention of Hugo Cabret, that you might have heard of the movie Hugo. I would not recommend Hugo, but I would recommend the book. I was not a fan of the movie. I should rewatch it to give it a go.
Good try.
Yeah, give it a second go. But this book captured so much good stuff from the get-go, and it looks daunting.
It's 500 pages?
Easy.
Something like that.
But it was 284 of that are
pictures. Just
pictures. And then, because of how you build a book and just the inner scaping of it, that's not even a word, I think. Anyway, they'll have like a paragraph for a whole page or a line for a whole page. So if you are not a fast reader, if this size book scares you, trust me, dive. You'll be, before 20 minutes goes in, you've already been past almost 80 pages.
If not 100.
If not 100.
Depending on where you're at.
Yeah. It's so cool. So yeah, the premise is, God, how does it open? It opens to the scene of a moon.
Yeah, so it's the moon and then kind of overlooking the city.
And I love that it's in Paris. I think that's kind of cool.
I was literally doing my summaries and I was like, God, where is this again? And then I was like, oh yeah, says it right out front. Paris.
In Paris. Hugo Cabret, right there kind of says it too.
You could be a cabaret anywhere.
I guess. This is early, this was 1900s? 1930s.
I think, yeah.
1930s? Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, so it opens to him, and it opens to Hugo in a train station.
Yep, he's running through the train station, and then we see him kind of like pop into a grate in the wall. We just see his little foot hanging out as he's going in.
Yeah, so we're like, what is this kid doing? And the first part of it's called The Thief.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well, he's obviously stealing things. You're not really sure how old he is. We learn that he's 12.
Yeah, I think we only learned that at like the last couple chapters is when they like say it.
Yeah, when he's talking to a policeman.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's talking to a policeman. Yes, I'm 12 years old. And but yeah, so what was really cool is you just see him going through this station, this train station, and he's going to the different clocks.
Yeah.
He's adjusting the time and oiling them and fixing them and working on the gear system. Well, and if you look at like big clocks, at least maybe back in the day, I don't know about now, because a lot of things are digital. There's a lot of holes, and it was really weird because he's looking through these holes into like the shopkeeper's shop, the toy shop.
Yep.
And he's spying on this old man, and there's this little girl there who's probably the same age. I want to say probably exactly the same age as him, about 12.
Yeah, maybe give or take a year or something.
Oh yeah, you never know.
Yeah. No.
And I wrote it down. It would have been creepy if he was an adult.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that, but oh my God. If he was even in his teens, if he was like 5 years older, it'd be like, wow, you freaking creep. Like, back up. Absolutely. Sir, you
what
can't
is it called?
just
A peeping
keep
Tom?
my hand. Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's icky. We don't want to be that.
No, we don't want to be that. So yeah, but I was just thinking it'd be creepy if he was an adult, but he's a kid, so it's like it's endearing.
So it's fine.
It's okay.
It's curiosity, better. It's just seeing. And then he does have a reason to be looking at the toy booth, so that helps that he's like scoping it out.
Yeah. Well, why is that reason, Emily? Why is that reason?
He goes and steals little gets little like gear shifts and little mechanical bits and pieces, and then he ends up breaking a toy.
Yep. Yeah, he goes and he's very into all that cool stuff. And it's amazing at how, I don't know how the span of time is for the main story.
Yeah.
It can't be more than a week or two.
Well,
maybe a month?
I would say at max like a month.
Okay.
Because they have to wait like a week to sneak into the movies, and then they have to wait like a week for the meeting with the professor and all that kind of stuff. So like there's a couple bits where they're like waiting at least a few days to a week for things to happen.
Yeah, so if you've read the book before, you'll remember that he goes down and gets caught, right? He gets caught by the old man because he's stealing from the toy shop. He gets caught by the old man, and the girl and him don't have a conversation for a while.
Yeah, it's I think a couple chapters in.
Yeah, it's and the chapters are so short. I mean, they are ridiculously short. It's super good. Yes. It's something that if you have a young reader, highly recommend throwing this at him. It's a hardcover, so be gentle.
Absolutely.
It's a hardcover, be gentle.
Don't like thoroughly chuck it, maybe a gentle toss.
Hand it to them because it is a solid book. I mean, I have a hardback. Do you have a hardback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I prefer a hardback.
I do too. Especially with this one because the pictures are so cool. They're just a lot bigger. But the primary start of the first part centers around his notebook.
Yes.
Yeah, and the notebook is important because it has a picture of, they call it an automaton, which is basically just a fancy term for a animatronic machine.
Yeah, it's this mechanical man is what they kind of refer to it as. Yes. And in my brain, for some reason when I read it as oh God, what did I read as? Automaton was what I like. That would sound like
so
automaton.
So bad.
Automaton. Those are the two my brain would like.
I can see that. Yeah.
My brain would change, and then you said it. I'm like, that makes so much sense. That's probably what it is.
Don't count on me. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm misspelling words and misrepresenting words too. But yeah. So let's see. Okay. So we start to learn a little bit about I think it was, he ends up going into the bookstore for some reason. And I can't remember why.
So it's because Isabel passes him a note, who is the girl.
Oh yes, Isabel.
I think that's after, let me look.
That's after. Okay, so he goes to the old man. The old man sees the drawing of the automaton and says, "Where did you get this, you thief?"
Yes.
He's stealing toys, so he is technically a thief, but he's talking not about the toys necessarily. He's talking about the book too.
Yeah, so he's super pissed off about the notebook, and he goes like, the hell? It's my notebook. Like,
Yeah.
Hugo knows where it's from. He's like, this has nothing to do with you. Like, why are you freaking out about this?
Yeah.
So then he takes the notebook and Hugo's like, give it back. And he's like, no, I'm going to burn it. And I was like, I hate you, first off. Like, that's rude. This kid looks apparently like 10 to 12. And you're just going to take his personal property and burn it? Like,
it's the 30s. Why not?
Still, that's messed up. I was like, Jesus, my guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Hugo follows him back to his apartment.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, and the guy's angry because his shoes keep making noise, and we find out later why that is.
Yes.
But at the time, you're like, it happens. Like, people walk, that happens.
They make sounds the guy, when they walk.
They do. Things make sounds.
They do.
So then Hugo follows him to his apartment, and then Hugo starts throwing rocks at one of the windows, I guess trying to get the guy to come back down. But then
I would assume, yeah.
But then Isabel like pops out, and then she comes down, and they start talking. I made a note that she was sassy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's very sassy.
She's very sassy.
We find out that the guy, his name is Papa George.
I think it's technically Georges.
Georges? Okay.
Yeah, I did look up how to pronounce it, but I don't remember.
Okay. That's how Papa Georges, and I was like, Papa George. I like George.
That's what I did in my head, but then after I looked it up, I was like, I think it's Georges.
Yeah, Papa Georges. He is actually her godfather.
Yes.
So I thought grandfather. I'm like, a little too old for a father. So we find out that she is his goddaughter and lives with the two, with him and his wife. And she, I think, tells him to meet her at the book shop the next day, because she's gonna try and save the notebook.
Yeah, she tells him that she wants to try and find the notebook. She doesn't want it to get burned. Yeah, she comes out and she promises that she's gonna look for the notebook for him.
Yeah.
And it's after the old man comes back and says that he burned the notebook that she passes him the note.
Oh yeah, because he actually, freaking dirty trick. The old man gives him a handkerchief full of just ashes.
Ashes.
Like, it's bad enough to say I burnt your stuff. It's like a total bad word to hand him a freaking bunch of ashes. Screw you, kid. Here you go.
So my note is the toy booth guy is a dick. I think I remember there being some backstory that quote unquote justifies his salty attitude, but right now he's a dick. It's like I remember liking him at the end, but I'm pissed right now.
Oh yeah, I mean he's an old man. He's allowed to be a little salty, but holy crap.
Absolutely. Like, throw your attitude, do what you got to do, but like, damn, my guy, that was rough.
Through the book in the first part, he's like threatening the kid too. Like he's
an ass. Yeah. Like
he is.
It's a literal child. Like, yeah, obviously I just
labor laws weren't invented yet, I think. I'm not sure.
They were very much not.
I don't think
absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Oh god. We also find out the backstory of Hugo being in the train station.
I was just about to say that. So I'm like, what the hell is this kid doing at a train station, right?
I know. I put in like that's the wrong one. In the first chapter, like the author starts you out with so many questions, like
he does.
Why is this kid chilling in a clock? Where is his family? How long has he lived in the station for? Who drew the notebook? Why is he stealing all of these things? Like, what in the actual hell is going on?
Yeah,
and
I figured, he's bored, and he's just bored. He's gonna do this. Also, I find out that he starts stealing coffee and croissants. How French is that?
I know.
But I'm like, 12 years old and you're drinking coffee? But I mean, over in Europe, I think that's a thing.
I think they start drinking pretty young.
Yeah. Oh, drinking. You can start drinking. You pop you're born and replace the boob with a freaking wine bottle, I guess. Maybe
if you can sip some wine, you should be able to sip some coffee too.
I guess so. Yeah, it's an upper, one's a downer. Yeah, whatever.
Balance them out,
Whatever. Anyway,
I like a cup of both. It's a good time.
We find his backstory, and we find out that that his father was a clockmaker.
Yes.
And the word that I'm terrible at pronouncing, horologist.
I breezed by that in my brain. I was like, yep, that's there. And then I didn't try to pronounce it.
I think it's horologist. That is literally Clockmaker. Study of clocks. Don't know.
Is it HOROLOGIST?
GIST. Yep.
Okay, let's see what Google says.
The Oracle.
How to pronounce? Horologist?
Horologist. I was off.
You're close.
Horologist. Horologist. I was trying.
Horologist.
A horologist.
It's like me with the little mechanical dude.
Mechanical dude.
Mechanical dude.
I like that better.
The machine guy.
Yeah, we found out that word means clockmaker, essentially. So
yes.
But yeah, he fixed clocks at a museum. By he, I mean Hugo's dad.
Yeah.
And what we find out about how the automaton and Hugo intersected is in the attic of the museum. His father finds this crazy piece of machinery who just is absolutely infatuated by it.
Which, I mean, I would be.
Yeah, it's cool. It's this guy sitting at a desk, and he is, with the clockwork inside his body, is able to actually like write. And so he thinks like, oh, I can write this thing. This thing writes automatically. That's kind of cool. What kind of note is it? So now and there's another question of what note is this automaton writing?
Yeah.
But it's broken, so they can't, and it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of tiny little gears and tiny little cogs and wheels, and
and
very
so
intricate.
Does he bring it? No, he leaves it at the museum.
Yeah, he leaves it at the museum. Hugo ends up taking it later.
Okay, he leaves it at the museum and he just starts drawing, and he shows Hugo all these cool drawings, and then Hugo becomes quite infatuated too.
Yeah.
Did his dad bring him to the museum to look at it? Okay,
yeah, I think he brought him a couple times. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, and then one day there's a fire at the museum. And apparently the janitor had locked up for the night, including locking the attic door. Why you lock at attic doors beyond me?
I don't know, because I wouldn't, but that's just me. I don't know.
Rise the story, maybe. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, janitors break. I mean, you can try to break out of a locked door, but it's real hard.
I'd try if there's a fire going on.
Oh, I would too. I'm not saying that. He was just like, you know what? Like the meme of the dog sitting in the burning kitchen.
This is fine.
This is fine. This is fine. I'm sure that wasn't what he was doing. He was probably trying to, break out, but yeah.
So long story short, the museum burns down and his father is unfortunately killed in the accident.
Yeah.
So Hugo, poor kid, he blames himself for starters because he got so into the idea of fixing the automaton that kind of forced his dad to go work on it a little more, to try to surprise him with it. That's what he conjured in his little mind. But wasn't he woken up? I think
his uncle woke him up.
Yeah, his uncle did.
Yeah, but I mean, he was waiting for his dad to come home, and he was like, wow, he's kind of late, but he's probably just working. And like, how many times do you have that where it's like, oh, I should have heard from them by now. I know I get it with Chris when he's driving an hour and a half to go to work, and I'm like, he should have been home by now, but I'm sure he just got stuck, and then it's like, okay, it's been that time goes by, and then you're trying to come up with reasonable explanations, and like, it's for sure they're gonna come home, and then they don't. Like my heart just broke. I was like, my poor child. Like,
well, especially because this kid doesn't have a mother. His mother died. We don't learn about his mother. So
I was gonna say I didn't remember seeing anything about the mom.
No, they didn't mention it at all. And I mean, just assume that she probably died of childbirth.
So that would be
something awful back then. They didn't exactly
on par from back then.
Amazing. Actually, an interesting, dreadful but interesting piece of information. If you ever listen to Mike Rowe's podcast, The Way I Heard It, he was talking about there was a ward of children being born, and women were just dying like crazy after giving birth, and they're trying to figure out why. Basically, one side of the ward was getting affected by germs from doctors performing autopsies on dead mothers and not sterilize. This before sterilization was a thing. So this guy who came up with this, he was trying to figure out why this ward was having higher death rates than this one.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? This doesn't make any sense. And so what he surmised is a theory called maybe we're bringing pieces of corpse, eerie to think, into the room with these mothers, and that's causing them to get sick and die.
Yeah.
Turns out it's just because it was germs, it was sterilization, and then you get the mothers were, getting sick and then passing away shortly after giving birth. So I can't remember what year this is, but apparently the guy actually went insane and they thought he was wrong. We found out that basically eventually came up with a sterilization and formaldehyde and how to properly perform,
everything.
Clean autopsies without getting anybody contaminated. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where my mind went. Like maybe she died from childbirth because pieces of corpse.
I went to a bunch of different things because obviously I listen to true crime a lot and there's some like not great people in those. Shocker.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean there's women that have kids and then just like peace because I don't really want that child and the dad sticks around. There's, she could have just died when he was young, car accident, childbirth. Like I was like, it could be so many different things.
You gotta think of the time though, in Europe. I don't know.
Well, I definitely don't know a lot about what was going on in Europe, like socially back then. I know obviously here, but I don't know about over there. But
32, I think, is when this took place. And I think we were starting to get to Great Depression hit America. And I think it was 39, 30. Okay, so we were pre-World War II, about 10 years away from World War II. So there was a rise of fascism, other things going on in the country. I think there was because they said in the films, well, when he goes to the movie theater with his dad, there was talk of politics in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So that's what made me think of that. But anyway, so
makes sense.
Yeah, so his uncle, not exactly uncle of the year.
No, I definitely don't love him.
No. Well, we don't have really a chance to hate him for too long.
I mean, I still didn't really like him.
Oh no, God, no.
Through the whole thing.
He's not a good person. I mean, maybe he is a good person, but he's drunk all the time, so that's a problem.
Very true. He has given into his vices at this point.
Yes, his vices have taken the wheel, and he's in the trunk.
I really like that. I have not heard that before. Honestly.
Use it, steal it, do what you want with it.
I absolutely will. Thank you.
So let's see. So now Hugo's an orphan. His uncle comes in the middle of the night and brings him to the train station to be his apprentice because he works at the train station and he manages the clocks.
Yep.
Well, it helps that Hugo knows a thing or two about clocks and he's actually very adept at fixing things.
Yes.
He loves machines. So that really helps.
Very hands-on. Kind of
ties things together. Well, then all of a sudden, his uncle just up and freaking vanishes.
He was used to, I think, his uncle being gone for a couple days, and then a couple days turned into a week, turned into 2 weeks, turned into months, and then he was like, well, all right, guess he's not coming back now.
Yeah, so now imagine, if you will, you're about 12 years old, your dad just died, you're now not living at home anymore, you have no way of making money, and your uncle just decided to bounce.
Well, I think he was probably like 10 or younger, because later in the book when they find his uncle, they said he's been down there for years.
Yeah, he squashed that though. Hugo squashed that. They were saying that it was years. They were because they were saying that, oh, it's the ghost. It's the
oh my
ghost
God,
of the
I was like,
station. And
I was like, can we be logical here? Actually,
he set the record straight, but I think it was a couple months.
Okay, you might be right.
I might be right too. I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain that that's what the conversation was. So he just decides, well, he's going to collect the paychecks, but he can't collect the paychecks
because he can't cash them.
So he just has a stack of freaking paychecks.
Blows my mind. They don't talk about if he like goes back and gets them later. They're just a stack of money.
Well, because it's just checks, and I think that maybe because of his like the apartment that he's living in, because he's living at the train station.
Yeah,
there's an apartment at the train station where his uncle is obviously living. It's like a one-room little studio thing, and just here's the stuff and go crazy. And I don't know what happens, but he goes and grabs it and goes. There's a mailbox that he would sneak into at night and pick up, or I don't know. Train stations usually run 24/7, I imagine.
Yeah, I would
That
think
was the
so.
primary means of transportation.
Yeah.
Back in the day, minus cars and
Yeah.
walking. Yeah, and walking.
Yeah.
So now he's going crazy with he's sad, he's worried about his uncle, he's sad about his father. And so he decides he's going to kind of go to the museum where his dad died. And he goes to the rubble and he ends up finding the automaton that has somehow magically survived. Mind you, back in the 30s, things were made a lot sturdier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so everything's out of metal.
Real good quality.
Think of the lead and other toxins. Anyway, that's my safety brain coming out.
Yeah, it is.
All the safety. Lead, paint, asbestos.
All bad.
All bad. All bad.
All bad.
But he ends up hauling that friggin' thing at automaton, which isn't very small.
I was gonna say that thing looked like hefty, like half of his body, like hefty,
like 50 pounds at least.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would be able to lift it, but I'd be hurting.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I don't know how big he is, but I'd say he's like an average 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Just under 5 foot, 4 foot something. 5 foot. So pretty short still. I know full-grown adults who are 5 foot tall, which is funny.
I pictured him about the size of like Lucas, but probably like a little bit taller.
Yeah, Lucas is just around 4'8"ish, 4'9"ish around there.
Yeah,
so
I was like probably about that size.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Just shy of 5 foot.
Yeah,
but yeah, he makes it all the way back, takes it to the freaking train station, and that's where the backstory ends.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what happens next?
Let's see. Well, after he meets up with Isabel at the library bookstore thing, she tells him that the book isn't burned and that her papa is tricking him. And then Hugo goes and pretty much is like, "Where the hell is my notebook?" And the guy's like, "I burned it. I don't know what you're talking about."
Hugo's got some balls.
That is a confident little kid, let me tell you, because I would be like, "Well, it's gone forever. That sucks." Like,
yeah, I wouldn't have pushed. I'd be like, "Well, it's gone." Clearly, he handed me a bag of ashes.
Yeah, I have evidence right here.
Yeah, the girl's telling me that it's not gone. So I mean,
girl, I don't know you. Like,
yeah, you might be lying to me. You just
exactly
think I'm cute or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, you just want to spend time with me. That's all.
Yeah, who knows?
And so, the old man ends up not confronting. I can read. Hugo ends up working for Papa George's, and he ends up fixing the toy that he accidentally broke. And then he tells Hugo that maybe he can earn back the notebook by working for him.
Yeah. And so, and then we move on to an interaction, woman like chapter 8, I think. Mm-hmm. Interaction between I mentioned this, Hugo and Isabel.
Yeah.
Hugo and Isabel in regards to movies that Hugo's father said. Something about it had been like seeing his dreams in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool because
I love that.
They start talking about movies, and because one of her friends, I cannot remember, Etine. How the hell?
In my head, I pronounced it Etienne.
Etienne? That's better than how I was pronouncing it. Etienne.
Etienne.
Americanized.
Etienne.
Americanized.
Yeah, that is not French no more.
No, ain't no French no more.
Let's see. Hold on. Haha! Etienne.
Etienne?
Etienne.
Go, Emily.
I was real close. Thank you.
Look at that hair flip.
I know my hair's down today too.
You cocky. I like it. It's
because I'm not right that often. So when I am, I'm happy about it.
Boom, baby. Okay, so so we find out that, say his name again.
Etienne.
Okay, that's gonna take a minute. Etienne works at a movie theater and sneaks Isabel in every now and then because why not?
Because they're kids and they're friends and
why
got perks.
Not? Yeah. So they invite Hugo to come on in and hang out, go to the movie theater in secret.
Yeah. And Etienne's got an eye patch.
Oh yeah, Etienne's got an eye patch because
Etienne's got an eye patch.
What the hell did he do to himself?
He lost his eye. I don't remember if it was an infection or something, but
he was young. I remember he lost it.
Yeah. They briefly mention it. I don't think I wrote it down anywhere because I was cool.
It does not drive the story whatsoever, so I didn't.
No, real small little bit.
I think it just helps with the drawing, because you can tell it's Etienne with an eye patch.
Well, they do that cute little thing where he gives him the quarter from under his eye patch to buy the book.
Okay, by cute, I kind of think disgusting, because he put it in his eye hole.
So I guess I pictured like the eyelids being sewn shut if he's got an eye patch. So I pictured it like just sitting. I can't remember what is it, like the orbital bone, I think, is around. That's what I pictured it, just sitting there, not being in his eye.
Yeah, I did not. I went
clearly
full Pirates of the Caribbean, like guy.
You went morbid.
His eye out. Yeah, I went gross. Like,
oh,
why is this sticky? Like, this is nasty.
No, yeah, okay. I was thinking just like pushed up against the eye patch, like in that little socket bone right there.
Well, yeah, I like your idea better than mine, because mine was gross.
Thanks, me too.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I'm like, why are we trusting this kid? He's giving
nasty.
He's giving coins that were inside him. What the hell is wrong with? Ew.
Well, it's like in Halloween Town, the mayor pulls this real big lollipop out of his ear and tries to give it to the youngest girl, and she's like, "No thanks." Like, that just came out of your head. I'm good.
This has got earwax on it.
She's like, I'm okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh God.
Okay, so let's see here. So as we go about, we find out that like Isabel's got a key around her neck.
A little heart-shaped key.
A little heart-shaped key, yeah.
Little heart-shaped.
It's cute. Now, Hugo notices it, and automatically this little thief, he's actually pretty good. He goes. I remember how he did this. He freaking picked it from her, or lifted it from her, by giving her a hug. After the old man, he approaches the old man. I want my notebook back.
Yep.
And he runs to. He's like trying to punish him, and he runs to her, gives her a hug. I'm like, that's weird. And then bloop, just lifts the damn key. Like, less
real
weird
quick.
now. Less weird now.
The hug was there for a reason, not just because he's being icky.
Yeah. It was just amazing. But anyway. So yeah. Okay. So why was the old man yelling at him though? He returned to the toy shop.
It's because Isabel found the book and took it, the notebook. And then the old man was like, "How dare you break into my house?" Which, first off, wouldn't you know if a child broke into your house? He's not like some hardened criminal. He's 12.
Well, I mean, yeah, but he's been stealing stuff. He's been stealing toys. He's been
stealing stuff that's out in the open, and like croissants off a freaking windowsill, like chilling. He's not breaking into somebody's house and take a chill pill, my guy. No, who's the kid that lives with you? Maybe we go there first.
I know, that's what I said too. Like, why not just ask the girl, because she was there overhearing the whole conversation? Why not you talk to her first?
Just be like, "Hey, girl, just checking.
Maybe they just didn't think she was capable.
I guess so, but I mean, she's feisty.
She's crafty too. The little kid can open up a damn door with her bobby pin.
Yeah, she can lockpick freaking the best of them, like Assassin's Creed. Like, let's go. And God,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's
Papa George goes and accuses him of stealing the notebook, and he goes like, "Didn't do that." And then he starts chasing him, and
the video's all weird.
I don't know. I have not done nothing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I don't think it's you. I think it's connectivity. It's better now.
Oh, I don't know.
It was
that's
good. That's what it was doing. So
Chris just texted me that there was an 8-year-old boy that was known as the world's youngest serial killer. So 12 is for sure young enough to be a criminal. Not the point, Chris. Not the point.
8-year-old?
There are some dumb kids. Oh. I don't know about that one, but there's one that was like 13.
That's disgusting. That's just terrifying.
It's not fantastic. That's
I mean, honestly, when you think about the the kids, some kids in Africa, soldier children.
Oh yeah,
soldiers. That's
wild.
Frightening. That's frightening. Take a very loving, caring young boy, give him a gun, and say, "Just start killing people." Like, what?
Yeah, pop off, guy.
You kill or I kill you. Okay.
Pardon?
Disconnect that empathy part of your brain.
Yep, that doesn't exist anymore.
Holy crap, that's just frightening. But anyway.
Yeah. Anywho.
Back to this.
Back to Hugo.
Back to Hugo. All
Hugo.
right. So he takes his lovely ring. He takes the necklace with the key on it, goes back to his room, and we discover that over the last several weeks I think he was working it off. Was he working in the shop?
He had been working in the shop, taking little like bits and gears to go fix the machine, and he was really excited because he was able to start fixing it without the help of the notebook.
Yeah.
Which he didn't think he was going to be able to do.
No.
Showing he is crafty and he knows what he's doing.
Mechanically inclined, absolutely.
Very much so. Yeah.
And is able to actually he actually fixes it. He polishes it, fixes it, cleans it up, repairs it. Pretty sure he knows that it works, but he doesn't have a way to turn on the machine.
Make it work. Yeah.
Hence why while he's working on it, he sees that little keyhole and wonders if the heart-shaped key is actually
fits in the heart-shaped hole.
In the heart-shaped hole. And well, he'd be right.
He was correct.
He was correct.
He takes that necklace, sprints back to his room. He puts the key in the whatever it's called, the little machine guy, and then as he's like about to turn it, Isabel comes busting in, and she's like, "Why'd you take my necklace?"
I forgot about this.
He's like, "'Cause it fits in my machine." She's like, "Why does my godfather's key fit in your dad's machine?" He's like, "I don't know." And she's like, "Let's find out." And he goes, "Please no, because I would like to be alone." She goes, "Nope," and then turns it.
Yeah, and don't they like wrestle and fight a little bit?
I think so. Yeah, they do. Because she's like, "Give it back," and he's like, "Nope."
And she's like, "I'm going to sock you," and just like slaps him or punches him or something.
I was like kind of upset with her because he's like, this is my dad's. I want to see what it does on my own. And she's like, "No," and then turns it. I was like, "You little brat!" Like,
I mean, they're kind of both big brats. Let's be real.
This is true, but I like Hugo a little more.
Yeah, I feel for Hugo, but at the same time, now that I learned that she's living with her godparents, clearly she's an orphan too. So
very much so. Yeah,
I mean, it's just one of those things. So, they're both being bratty, but bratty orphan. I guess I'll let it go.
What are you gonna do?
I'll let it go. So they turn the key and watch the magic happen, and this damn thing doesn't write a note like Hugo had hoped. He somehow hoped that there was like a message from his father or something crazy like that, but it ends up being instead a picture of a moon with a rocket, a man on the moon, with a rocket stuck in his eye, and not like morbidly or gross, but like kind of comical.
Yeah.
And I think
it's from Hugo's father's favorite movie.
Yep. And I think it was A Trip to the Moon. I think it was called.
Yeah.
So and that right there actually ends the first part of the book. And the note after that is like that's the whole story from that part. Like kind of odd. Like, what did it say?
It said, that brings us to the end of the story. Now you know how the mysterious drawing I mentioned at the beginning of this book came to be discovered. It had been hidden inside the clockworks of a well-loved machine, waiting to be released by the turn of a stolen key. Here the curtains close and we can fade to black. But another story begins, because stories lead to other stories, and this one leads all the way to the moon.
Yeah. So, and what I really do love about this is, now a little bit of a spoiler before we get further on in the story, is that it's really based on film and the origins of film. I love how Brian Selznick takes that black and white old theater style concept and puts it in, like, it's all black and white. There's no color.
I love it.
I love it too. And actually, have you ever read Wonderstruck, which is the sequel, or not the sequel, which is a different book by Brian Selznick, same concept.
Mm-hmm.
Those pictures are in color.
Okay.
Because it's a different story. It's not around film. It's around something else entirely. Also a good book. I would definitely read that. You can read that in the same amount of time as this one. It's marvelous. Go check that one out too, if you haven't. I absolutely adored how they did this. It was just how he did this. It's so well done. Okay, well, we've done part one. Part two begins.
Yes.
But something we forgot to mention, the end of part one, it shows a beautiful picture. Maybe I did mention it.
We did mention it.
I did mention it. Oh, thank God. Look at us go.
I was like, what did we forget?
I don't remember what we forgot. Is that an oxymoronic? I don't know, whatever. Okay.
My brain can't. No, it's just the circle
Brain
of death.
constipation.
It's the
I love the Tarzan saying, Tartan, I'm tired of you and your emotional constipation. Love it so much.
accurate though.
I use
That
that
is a
so
real
much.
thing.
I use that so much in
Yeah.
intellectual constipation. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So part two,
Yes.
so we start part two with the introduction to with a picture of what we ended in part one, the man on the
Yes.
moon with the rocket in the
Yes.
eye
Yes.
from Hugo's father's favorite film,
Correct.
A Trip to the Moon.
Yes.
But what's different is the mechanical man finishes by signing the drawing Georges Méliès,
Yes.
which happens to be
Isabel's godfather.
ding ding. Yes,
Ding,
indeed.
ding.
We
I get
have
a
read
point.
this. That's good.
We did. We could answer questions.
I know, right? We did that. That was so well. I didn't even plan that. Okay. So now Isabel questions Hugo. Hugo doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is where Hugo and he actually explains what happens. No, not yet. Not yet. She takes the key. That's right. Isabel decides she's taking the key for whatever reason. She's being a
And she
brat.
wants the drawing.
And she wants, that's right. And they fight over the drawing. It rips in
And they
half.
rip it in half. Mm-hmm.
Because they're being brats. Because kids.
Yep.
I love kids. But yeah. And then Hugo chases her to her apartment of all places. Like, damn, that's you move.
Well, he did it before with
that's true.
Yeah, he was
That's
like, I
true.
can get there.
Yeah, they don't. He knows the way. He knows the way.
Yeah.
But then, and in the hustle and bustle to get away from Hugo, Isabel actually takes Hugo's fingers in the door.
She sure does. Yeah, she messes those fingers right on up.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, Hugo fixes things,
and he has to keep clocks going for his safety.
Yeah, for his safety and privacy. Because like in the book, you'll see a picture of him like cranking something. I want to say it's just to reset the clock or keep it going. I'm not exactly sure how that works.
Well, because I know with like old watches, you had to set them every day. And so you had to like reset them. And so I think that's what it is he's resetting them all to the same time. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to actually have understanding of how that works. But I mean, old-timey clocks are away with the times.
I feel like I'd want to watch something regarding it. I couldn't read anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I could read it if it was like in something like this. Where it was just a quick, 30-second blurb.
Yes. I mean like an in-depth detailing of that.
No, I don't care too much about that.
I don't care.
I don't care. If I was an antique person, sure, but I'm not. So
I'm not.
Whatever.
I like the vintage, but that's a lot.
Yeah. I don't think I'd mess with it. It'd just be there. It wouldn't tick. It would just be there. So
cool. Yep.
Yes. Okay. So what we find out though is Hugo goes in there, runs into his godmother or Isabel's godmother.
Yes.
And she of course is freaking out over the commotion. What's going on?
Yep.
He's broken fingers. She and him are arguing, and then Hugo just puts her on blast and says she stole your key because Isabel, I think she outed herself about this earlier in the
she said that she had taken it, I think, from her godmother. She had found it or something.
And the last thing we see from that is she's like, don't dredge up the past because it involves Georges or Papa Georges.
Yes.
And he's all mad about it and stuff. He's all sensitive.
He's like, don't talk about it.
Don't need to talk about my stuff. I'm not like this.
That's my past.
That's my past. Don't you talk about it, kids. Stay out of my path.
God damn.
Right? I know. Can you tell I've been drinking? I'm just doing weird voices now.
Not at all.
That's good. I need to drink more, apparently.
I think that's a family thing.
Just the accents or drinking?
Both.
Oh, okay. We don't really drink Chris. That much. Okay. Yeah, Toph doesn't drink very much. Actually, ever. No. He drinks occasionally.
And that's like, rare.
I wouldn't even call occasionally. It's he will have a sip of something I give him.
Yeah, he'll like test it and be like, cool.
Like, it's not soda.
Like, I'd rather have a Diet Pepsi. Exactly.
It's not soda, is what he says.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
not
no,
soda, but
it's not soda, but it does the trick if you're
it
looking for
sure
something.
does.
We move right into the second chapter. 1 and 2 could have just been the same chapter. I mean, really could have.
I agree.
It could have totally.
I put at the end of chapter 1, we don't get many answers as to what's going on, but Mama Jean clearly knows what's happening.
Is it Jean or Janae? Jeannie?
I read it as Jean.
I don't know,
I
because
mean,
Jeanne, right?
it sure is.
Because it could be Jeannie.
In French. Let's see.
I like your idea with Jean, though.
Looking at how to pronounce
this name. Thanks.
Oh, that's creepy. I thought like
Jane.
something. Jane?
Jane or Jean?
Is how you say Jane in French.
That is really creepy voice, by the way.
It is like.
It sounds like it's Hannibal Lecter about to eat your face.
Yeah, it's giving.
But French.
That's the important distinction here.
But French.
Yeah, it's apparently Jean or whatever the other one was. Jean.
Okay, whatever. Bougie.
And I said Jean, but that's probably the Americanized version. So here we are.
Well, we're American. We don't have any French in us, at least to my knowledge.
I know. I want to do one of those DNA test things.
I do too. But
yeah.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, we'll get there. I did one for King Boy. I should be able to do one for me.
We can definitely do one for. You can definitely do one for people.
I know. I mean, I bought one for my dog. I should have bought one for myself. Was what I meant.
Yeah, I guess. And what's kind of funny about that is actually you can be like you, me, and Chris from the same mother and father.
I asked Chris that.
Different percentages of the same G. It's just crazy. Like,
yeah,
because you and I. Because we've been told several times in our lives, you and I look the most alike between the three of us.
Absolutely.
Chris is he has like the big shaman head, big shaman head. And I don't know. I don't freaking know. I feel like I have it too, but I think you and I have longer faces. I feel like you have a longer face.
Yeah.
And so supposedly that's like the Scotch Irish. I don't freaking know. This is all hearsay from our parents.
I know. I used to try to tell Chris that he was adopted because me and you look alike and me and mom look alike, but he was like, fuck you, I look like grandma. And I was like, you got me there.
Well, we also look like Uncle Paul.
I don't.
Him and I, no, you don't.
I was like, no.
But he does. He looks like Uncle Paul. And I can see the resemblance, especially with our cousins.
Yeah.
Especially our cousin. Not necessarily Kev. I think
I was going to say not really.
Kev looks
you and Kev looks most alike.
I don't see it at all, Kev and I. Maybe now that he's a little older because he's filled out in the face more.
You look related is more.
Guess, I mean, maybe. He looks like his mother.
I think he's a pretty good mix of.
I think he is too, but I see a lot of facial features from Judy.
I agree.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the show. Back to the show. I probably should cut that, but man, or keep it. Fuck it, I don't care. Who's gonna?
People get to know us, Ryan.
Get to know everything about you.
It's the banter. That's why I like more.
My social security number is 1, 2, 3.
I know. Chris was watching a live stream really quick, and this guy was like, he was like, oh, there's this really cool thing that happens. I think it's on Twitch. I'm not sure, or on YouTube. I don't know. But he was like, there's really cool things that happen if you would type in your parents' credit card number, like something pops up on the screen, or like type in your credit card number. And people started doing it, and he was like, that was a joke. That was a joke. Like, you're gonna get your shit stolen.
I was doing a training class, and I had someone. They have to like put their badge number, their name. And the date and all that, and their signature for some form they have to fill out. And I caught this one kid, and I was like, "Can you also put your mother's maiden name down, and then start putting your social security?" The kid started writing his mother's maiden name. I'm like, I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
I don't need that information.
I scrapped it and got a new one for him to fill out because I'm like, I don't need that, dude. No. It was just, I'm like, I apparently need to be more obvious that I'm being sarcastic. I thought I was being pretty obvious. But.
I mean, my first guess with you is you're probably being sarcastic, but I also grew up with you. So
know me and you know my tones. You know that 98.5% of what I say is sarcasm.
If not 99.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Odds are. Anyway, especially while I'm drinking right now. It's just not a Ooh,
It's
yeah.
closer to 100 when you're drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless about talking about food or having to use the bathroom, then I'm dead serious.
Yep. Those are usually,
Dead serious. Anyway,
So, chapter
okay.
2.
So chapter 2. So the armoire.
Yes.
The
I
armoire.
misspelled this when I was typing it, so I had to reference the.
Did you spell it armor?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I forgot the E, I think.
Yeah,
I
close
spelled
enough.
it weird, and then it like changed it to armory or something. And I was like,
Oh,
that's not what
right.
I'm doing.
No,
And then
this is not the
no,
1600s France.
no,
No, not even
different.
close. Yeah, this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the armoire, I can't remember what the
Yep.
motivation was they went into the armoire, they were in the closet, Hugo and
No,
Isabel.
so what happened is Mama Jean, whatever, she
hid them.
Yeah, because she didn't want Papa Georges to know that Hugo was there, so she put them both in the bedroom.
Okay,
I don't know where he was in the house, but
I think he
Hugo
was in
said
the bedroom. Yeah.
well, if he was in the bedroom, then he would know that they were in the bedroom. He's in the bedroom later.
There might have been more than one bedroom. But anyway, whatever.
They go into this bedroom, and as the godmother's leaving, Hugo said that she like glances at the armoire, and he's like, something's in there. And Isabel's like, I looked there when I was looking for your notebook. And he's like, you didn't look hard enough because there's something in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when Isabel climbs up on the box. She gets the thing open. I don't know if she breaks it or what, but then the chair breaks. That's what she hurts her foot. But then the drawings go everywhere. The cape goes everywhere. Yeah.
That's right. Then you discovered that, holy crap, Georges Méliès has quite the past in a good way.
He sure does.
In a good way, a creative way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then he comes in and is very upset that all of these things are on the floor.
Yeah, he has a full blown like
breakdown.
I don't even know, manic episode, kind of. Not manic, a physical reaction.
A very, very like visceral reaction to it. Yeah.
I would say he's throwing up, but like he actually gets physically sick. He actually gets like feverish.
Yes. Yeah. And they have to
call the doctor.
Meds and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's see. Sneaks out. Oh, that's right. Okay. So I'm so glad I put summaries down.
Same.
Oh my gosh. Just because there's a lot of details in just these little short chapters.
I know. I'm like, mine are like hefty paragraphs for these.
Yeah, you should. I mean, you can kind of see, but I've got it chunked out.
I don't think you can see it.
Just it's too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh shoot, you got it all written out. Look at you. I just do bullet points, and I handwrite.
If I handwrote, I haven't had to handwrite a lot, so my hand cramps up because I've got a whole bunch of hand issues.
More reason to handwrite.
It's
type. Like working out, Miss Fitness Gal.
I type on my iPad or my laptop. So
I'm just giving you shit because it's fun.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I just liked doing that little hand motion. So.
Oh, cool. She almost looked like spirit fingers. It was cute.
Playing the piano.
Yeah. All the piano. I forgot you used to play the piano. Well, you kind of do still. Keyboard.
I can. Yeah. Well, I sold my keyboard because I wasn't playing it ever.
Yeah.
And I needed Christmas money. So I sold it. And it was like 10, 15 years old. It was
it's
freaking old. So I was like, when I want. Yeah.
How much money did you get for it?
I don't remember. Maybe like $50.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
pretty good for an old keyboard.
Yeah, it was someone's gift to their kid. I was like, absolutely, please take it.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, that's great. I'm glad that happened. Yeah. Okay, so once Georges has this reaction, it's not good.
Yes. Not good.
Mama Jean.
I think Mama Jean.
We just want to call Mama Jean for the sake of calling.
I wish I could forward this. Jane.
Okay, Mama Jane.
Jane or Jeanne, if we want to be French.
Jeanne. Ooh,
Jane.
I would like to speak the French. Jean.
Just makes me think of John, which makes me think of Uncle John.
Jane. Yeah, it's just Jane.
Jane's fine.
Okay, we're going with Jane.
Jane's fine.
Mama Jane. Mama Jane.
Mama Jane.
Not like Mama June. Mama June.
We're all Southern.
All Southern on us now. Go mother, Mama Jane. Mama June. No. Anyway, Mama Jane.
Yep.
Mama Jane allows Hugo to hang out relax, stay
He wants him
there,
to sleep on the couch.
sleep on the couch. Hugo's like, I don't think so, Scooter. He ends up staying. He ends up staying, hanging out, and then from there is like, peace. I'm done. I'm just gonna sneak out and go.
Well, he thinks up a plan.
That's right.
Which we don't really know much about it at first, but he finds the keys.
Yes.
Papa
He
George's
lifts
keys.
the keys to the
He's
shop.
like, thanks. Yes. Well, it seems like a huge key ring because he's like he has to try out multiple keys to get to the ones that open the shop.
Right.
And so then he kind of is like looking around, and then he finds the wind-up mouse that he had fixed. Wrapped in a cloth in the back of a drawer, and he was like, that's weird. Don't know why he's like, oh, I thought he sold that already. Like, whatever.
He kept
and
it.
then he did keep it. And then he goes back to his room. He finds the mechanical man, realizes that he's pretty much SOL because he can't fix the clocks anymore because his hands are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees one of Isabel's books, and he has an idea to go to the bookstore and ask for a book on one of the very first movies.
It's right on the origins of filmmaking. Yeah, which is really cool, actually. It was really interesting to actually look at the back, and they have a couple of segments there that describe that early film, the early film age, which is pretty cool.
Looked at that.
Yeah, it's very, very back at the end of the.
That would be why.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm done.
So he goes back to the shop. He goes back, right? He goes to the film library because he goes to the bookstore. The bookstore doesn't have that, so the guy goes, "Hey, go to the film library." So he
they'll
does.
have what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what I thought was funny is he goes to the library, he gets turned away.
Yep. They're like, you can't do anything.
Dirty. You're dirty. Go away. You're
get out of my
child. Go to
my
the
library. Thank you. Yeah.
Go get clean clothes. And I put down here in asterisks, people had cleanliness standards.
What?
You don't stink of reefer and ass, and you can't come in here. You smell. Go away.
Yep.
You look homeless. Get out. Like you look like you haven't bathed in months.
Oh God, what is that movie? Freaking A with Julia Roberts. No.
Pretty Woman.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Pretty Woman. I'm like, I was about to be like prostitute movie, and she comes back.
You're spot on. Yeah, it's
I just couldn't. I'm like picturing her in it, and I was like, the name of it, don't know, is gone. That's leave.
So
you work on commission, don't you? Yeah.
Well, this is where we run into weird name guy with the eye patch. Etienne, thank you.
With the eye patch. The kid with the eye patch.
And
Etienne.
He got fired. From
the
movie theater.
Which we forgot to mention earlier. They when they went to go see the movies,
Etienne was fired for letting people in.
So when Isabel and Hugo go to the movie theater, when they're scheduled to go see the movie that Etienne's supposed to let them into, he's not there. And Isabel's like, huh, that's weird. Isabel's like, wow, he's usually here by now. Like, that's really weird. And then Hugo's like, huh, I'll go talk to the people and see what's going on.
Right,
and
that's right.
And they're like, hey, do you know Etienne? And he's like, he has an eye patch because the guy doesn't respond. And he's like, no, I know who he is. He was fired. And he's like, huh, okay, that's weird. He's like, yeah, for letting kids in. He goes like, oh shit, okay. And then he walks around back and he tells Isabel, and she's like, I can get us in, don't worry. And then she picks the lock and they go in and watch the movie.
It's like, then why do you bother having, if you could pick the damn lock, why bother even having Etienne?
She does it all the time. She's like, real quick lock pick.
She's a master at it. It's like, you're impressive. It makes me want to carry around some bobby pins just to practice.
I mean, I have a little thing of them and I don't carry them around.
Ashley does too. And I will never carry them because I don't need them because I'm losing my hair.
You could pin your bangs back.
Just pin it back all sweet. I need to get my hair cut, so I got to do.
I know Chris was like, Ryan's hair's pretty long.
Yeah, it's just we had to change hair barbers, and I hate waiting. So
fair.
The one I got to go to is long. Yeah, so I hate going to a new place. It's just, I don't know, a little level of anxiety I don't want to deal with.
I only get my hair cut once or twice a year, so
yeah. I need to get it done probably every 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, you guys have that problem. We do not.
Eventually, I can just because I'm got a solar panel starting on my head.
You sure do. Cracks me up.
It makes me happy. Not really.
Not Baldy.
No, it's sad. It's less obvious with I have short hair, but longer hair, it's a little more.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Etienne is at the freaking library, sees Hugo there, and he, of course, is up to his old ways and sneaks Hugo in anyway.
Of course. He's like, yep, we're just going right in. Thank you.
It's just books. Who cares?
Exactly.
I'm not hurting anybody here.
He's fine.
Yeah. And then Hugo finds The Invention of Dreams. That's the book.
Yep. The story of the first movies ever made.
Yeah. And in there, it talks about Papa Georges, Georges Méliès, created The Trip to the Moon, Hugo's dad's favorite film, and the picture that was drawn by the automaton. Boom. Holy crap. That's just cool.
Mind blown.
And even more weird, it says in there that Méliès died after World War One.
Yep.
But we both know
he is not dead.
He is very undead. Not dead?
Very much
not
alive.
dead. Not dead.
No.
Yeah. Undead's worse.
That's a zombie.
That's a zombie. And we're not watching zombies right now.
Nope, not this time.
Maybe a later book.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure there'll be one.
I'm sure we'll find one or two.
Yeah.
What the hell? Why not?
Exactly.
There's a lot out there.
Ain't that the truth?
Maybe do Max Brooks's World War Z.
Sold.
It's been a while since I've read that one. Anyway, back to live people.
Yes. Yeah. The living. And yeah, not terribly creepy. Although Hugo watching people from clocks is a little strange, but whatever. Yep, still not my favorite, but it's fine.
Yeah, but again, he's a child, not an adult, not creepy.
Exactly.
Less creepy.
Yeah. Less creepy.
Let's see. So we hit up chapter 5 here, and Isabel surprises Hugo by showing up at Hugo's place. On crutches, no less.
Yep. So she's getting through the tunnels and stuff on crutches.
Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah. He's like, how? She's like, I climbed out through the window, is what she says. She escaped through the window on crutches, went to the train station on crutches, and then snuck in through a vent and through the tunnels.
No one saw this?
You would think it would take her a minute to like pry it open. She's got to like hobble in, bring the.
I mean, when I think about you're going through a busy station or busy anything, you're kind of focused on your path, not really on what's around you. So it actually.
I look everywhere.
See, I just focus on.
Might be a woman thing. I don't know, because I am like.
Yeah, as Ashley put it, her head's on a spindle or her head's on
swivel.
A swivel. That's the word that I'm looking for. A swivel. And I get it. When I'm in a city, I do that more often. When I'm in the city, I know less so.
I do it everywhere I go.
Yeah, it's probably I probably should employ that, but I don't because I'm a 6'2" large man, and
I'm not.
You are not. You are not. So when she arrives at the apartment, she breaks down and tells Hugo that she's worried for Papa George's life because he's got all of a sudden comes down a terrible fever.
Yep, he's very sick, and they can't afford the medicine.
And I think this is where Hugo finally just stops being, Mr. Cool Hugo and breaks down and tells her the story of how he became the orphan who's now a clock fixer repair kid in a train station all by himself.
Yeah, he tells her that before he left the library thing that he talked to Etienne and one of Etienne's teachers, and it's a teacher that wrote the book on the first movies and stuff.
Oh yes.
And he told him about Papa Georges and everything. And so he's like, yeah, they're coming to your apartment. And she was like, pardon me? And he was like, yep, they're going to show up. She's like,
oh yeah,
Mama Jane's not going to like that. He's like, well, don't tell her then. And they'll just show up and then we'll go from there.
And then hurt her.
Yeah. And then she ends up asking, I think, about the mechanical man or something, or how he ended up there. And then he tells her the whole backstory. And she says, thank you for telling me.
Yes. Thank you. I just want to be in the know. I just want to know stuff. That's okay.
I got to be involved.
What a womanly thing to do. It's a very female thing to do.
Very much so.
Because guys are like, you'll tell me when you tell me, or you don't tell me, and I don't pry.
I know. And she was like, what's in the notebook? What's in the notebook? I should be able to look. What's in the notebook? And then she was like.
And I don't mean it at all like mean or anything. It's just what I've noticed, especially from, being with the same woman for 17 years.
God, 17 years.
I know. Cheers to that. It's half my life. literally half my life.
I know.
Yeah, married for 12 almost. So that's nuts.
I'm at 3.5.
Hey, and you know what? That's great. You're doing wonderful things. I don't care if it
We're
was three
killing
and a half days. You're doing great. Okay. Anytime like there's a situation that occurs
Mhm.
and she's like, well, what happened? I give her the guy rundown.
Yeah.
3 details that are
Yep.
really not details.
No.
And she's
Bullet
like,
points.
what else? Yeah, bullet points.
Yep.
Well, that's what I did. Bullet points.
Yeah. I did details.
You did details. I did bullet points.
The nice thing is so we've got Chris's friend group. So he's got his best friend, and I'm best friends with his best friend's wife. So if something happens in the friend group and I get a sentence from Chris, I can be like, hey, what's going on? And I get the actual rundown. It's really nice. Yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, no, but it's always I don't give enough information. Then she obviously gives me way too much information that I don't need. It's just but I listen, because if I don't listen, stuff happens. And
well, I laugh because Chris will ask me something. So then I tell him like the backstory to the answer, then the answer, and then maybe something after the answer. And he's like, all I needed was the middle part. And I'm like, but you needed to know. And he's like, no, I didn't. I asked the question. I just needed the answer. And I'm like, no, you needed the back. And he's like, no, I didn't.
What's funny is I'm guilty of it too, with giving too much information, because she'll ask me a question sometimes and I will just word vomit everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, I only needed one word answer, yes or no. I'm like, oh.
Then,
well,
sure.
let me pull my sneaker out of my mouth and I will. I'm gonna get some food now.
Yeah. Especially when I'm tired or if I'm stressed, I just
well, yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
That's an emotional response to a practical problem. So
fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yes. So also she's worried about the shop because he's the breadwinner, not maker. He's a toy maker. He's a breadwinner.
Correct.
Yeah. That is important to know.
English.
Yeah, English. That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Hugo says, nope, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to watch the shop and open it. And he doesn't say it outright, but he says, no, it will not be closed tomorrow.
Yep, I got it. Yeah, because he goes, stop by the shop tomorrow. And she's like, it's going to be closed. And he's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. And I'm like, that is, I mean, right there, the maturity this kid has to have. He has to grow up pretty quick.
Exactly. I mean, him, when his uncle stopped showing up, alone just being like, hey, now I got to take over. Like, immediately just stepping into that. And then this, Georges is sick and he's like, all right, I just got to take over. That's fine. Like, just such a good kid.
He is. And it's funny, though. He goes in there, he does the shop thing for, I think, day or two. And he sits there and it's like, I'm bored because no one's there. And there's nothing to fix. He's like, is this what my life would be reserved to?
Yeah.
Like, and when you think about it, you think about that too. Like, I've had those moments in shops.
Yeah.
And work, like, is this my life reserved to? Is now working here for the entire day and going nowhere and doing literally nothing all day, trying to make a living, trying to make ends meet. That's what my life's boiled down to. This is, like, you can tell it's like, there's something wrong with this.
Yeah.
And I agree with him. I agree with him 100%.
Absolutely.
It's just gross. But anyway.
It's just gross. Hugo opens a toy booth. He works it for the day. Isabel ends up stopping by and she's reading a book on Greek myths. And Hugo realizes that he was like, you've had that for a while. And she's like, I've read this 20 times. Like, I get it. I read other books. And then I take this one again. And he's like, oh, you should read it out loud. And so then they go into the different Greek myths and stuff.
And talk about Prometheus and fire. And he saw a painting earlier, I think in the movie theater.
It was in the movie, like, Academy library thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he really enjoyed that myth. And I think there was some culmination between his life and his life and circumstances and Prometheus. They make some connection to that later on, and I can't remember the exact details on that.
Papa Georges had painted that mural.
Oh, that's funny. Because it was the story of Prometheus is Prometheus created man out of mud, stole fire from the gods to give to man so they could, live and be happy, I guess. And then he was punished by Zeus by being stranded on a rock, and some form of bird, eagle, I think, is going to come down to eat your liver every single day. Your liver's going to regrow, and it's going to be like this for eternity. I thought that was the end of the story. Apparently, he breaks free. I didn't know that, but whatever.
But whatever.
Good for Prometheus. Zeus is a bully. Zeus is a bully.
He's something.
He's an asshole. And quite the womanizer. Oh my God.
That is an understatement, I think. There's also Hugo starts looking at the clock that's directly across from the toy booth, and he starts wondering when they're all going to start breaking down, when the station inspector is going to catch on. And then my favorite thing in this chapter is when he's talking about how he's talking to Isabel, and he's like, if you really think about it, all machines have a purpose, whether it's this like mouse to make you whether it's this mouse to make you laugh, or it's the clock to show you the time, or it's this or this. And he's like, maybe humans are like that, and if you lose your purpose, you're broken.
I love
she was like, I bolded it in my notes. And so Isabel's like, do you think Papa Georges is broken? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, how do we fix him? And he's like, I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. That was, I remember to like write that down, and apparently I didn't. I was caught off guard by it because of just how eloquent it was.
I was like, I absolutely love this.
Very wise for a little guy.
I mean, he's been through some stuff he's
pretty mature
12 years.
For 12 years. You grew up with, we assume you grew up with no mother, father died, uncle's a jackass and left suddenly. Yeah. And then
your two caretakers just stopped showing up.
For
whatever reason.
And now he's trying to deal with the grief of his father, and now the responsibility of being basically an adult who can't actually adult because he can't money.
Because he's 12. Like, because he
legally can't have the money.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, and the fact that he has this wisdom, it's just like, God damn, you're. It's just
be a kid, but you can't.
I want to, be a kid, but some people are just born older, and maybe it was just grew up because of the circumstances, because there could have been kids who went south.
Oh yeah.
Hard south. Quick. And he saw a responsibility. He stayed there. He could have let that shit go down, and the clocks go crazy, and the station's back to where they figured out. He could have left and gone somewhere else. But what I do love, I forgot to mention, the looming threat of the station inspector is always there. Yes. And in the beginning, he's seen what happens when orphans get dropped off at train stations.
Yep.
The inspector picks them up, they go to the orphanage, and then all of a sudden they're miserable. He doesn't want to know what happens to them because he hears terrible things.
Yep. He does say, he's like, the only good thing about going to an orphanage would be that I don't have to worry about where my food is coming from.
Right. Yeah. You're not having to worry, and he's worrying about everything, and he's stealing food. He doesn't want to steal.
He likes when he can find the coins and go and pay for stuff.
So he pays for it. So he's trying to be responsible, but he's still got to eat.
Yeah. He still has to survive.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing that people do, or creatures do.
Yeah, survival instinct.
Humans do.
Yep.
I mean, when you look at that, you're like, he's not bad. He's not bad. He's trying to survive.
Exactly, which is why because Chris and I were talking about it too, about because Chris was like, a 12-year-old could be a criminal, and I'm like, that's not the point I was trying to make before. 12-year-olds absolutely can be criminals.
Sure.
This one is not.
No.
And I was like, and I think that all of the context clues that the, toy booth person, before we knew it as Papa George's, should know that he's not stealing money. He's stealing little gear parts.
Yeah. Gear parts.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's, let's take a breath before we jump to the fact that he might have broken into your apartment. Like, let's just take a step back.
But also think about
the circumstances.
Think about even just 30 years ago, probably maybe a little longer than that. Kids were supposed to be seen and unseen and not heard.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so like their excuses, there are no excuses. I say you do this, you do this.
Absolutely.
And so parents, adults are in essence, they're in charge. Yeah. They're the police, they're God. You do not question them.
Yep.
And he's even older now. He's, pre-World War I. So you got to think, he was born in the mid 1800s.
Yeah, I would say mid to late
1800s. Let's say the 1870s.
Yeah, probably around there.
Yeah, 1870s ish. Okay, holy crap! That just the mindset's different.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so we get to the really cool part where Etienne and Mr. Tabard, excuse me, who's the author of The Invention
That
of
book.
Dreams,
Yes.
who cited Georges Méliès as dead.
Yeah.
Etienne, Tabard now meet Isabel and Hugo at Papa George's apartment.
Yep. And Mama Jane is not happy about it.
She doesn't get irate though, thankfully.
She's not pissed, but she's like, pardon me, like
kind of
what?
concerned, really concerned.
I mean, think, your husband's had this breakdown. He's now ill.
Yeah.
And now here's people to potentially dredge up more of that. Like, you don't know what his reaction is going to be. We've seen one that's not good. And so, I mean, I wouldn't, but the nice thing was that the teacher is like, if you tell us to leave, we'll leave.
Yeah.
But like, let me tell you a story first.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Oh, I love the story too.
Yeah.
The story was so.
Yeah. I've been being a little kid
cool.
and meeting. I don't remember. I didn't write it down.
No, but so he met
exactly.
George.
Pretty much just that George just inspired him. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically he just inspired him to enjoy the movies and enjoy the filmmaking and the creation, the dreams. You can make your dreams come true in front of you. You can show the world them, which is so cool. And so he's like, I love this. And so that's what made him grow up to be whatever he was. In this case, an author. And I think he did some other stuff to a professor of film or art or something like that.
Because he was Etienne's teacher.
Yes. And so, he inspired him as a Tabard, Dr. Tabard or Mr. Tabard, Professor Tabard as a young boy.
Yes.
And then Méliès comes out and Tabard is kind of awestruck.
Well, isn't it after? Don't they watch the movie first, and that's when he comes out?
I think they do watch. A Trip to the Moon.
Yes.
They watch A Trip to the Moon, and then
because
they watch it before Méliès comes out.
Yeah, because she says, no, I don't want to wake up Georges, and then Isabel's like, no, let's watch it now. And so Monsieur Tabard and Etienne get the package in the hallway. They set up the projector, and they put on A Trip to the Moon. And so when the film is over, it starts whipping like it does when they have the reels and everything. And so Georges comes out and he's got tears in his eyes. And he said, I would recognize the sound of a movie projector anywhere.
Oh, that's right.
So everyone's crying.
Yes. Because now we're seeing that there's something that happened that it's, it is dredging up the past, which is not a bad thing in this instance.
Yeah. In this case, yes.
It kind of reawakened some passion of his. And so, but we don't know that yet. Because the next thing that happens is he hauls a projector and everything, and he runs into the bedroom and locks himself in.
Yeah.
And then you hear crashing, and you hear papers ruffling, and you hear the projector, and you hear the papers from the armoire are now ripped out of the armoire, and so they attack. They after these terrible noises, they attack the door. They're trying to open this damn door, and then finally
Isabel picks the lock. Yeah.
It's funny, she forgets that she could pick the lock.
I know. Hugo's like, girl, like, do it. And she's like, oh, yeah, let me
MacGyver, get in there. Like, what the hell?
It's your godfather, my guy. Like, let's go.
Yeah, let's do some stuff. And I love how he predicates this by saying they're going to open up to anarchy and chaos and just, so my mind, you're thinking torn paper, the projector's in 1,000 pieces, the film is destroyed.
Exactly.
But no, in fact, the papers are everywhere in a good way.
Yes.
And I want to say was he wearing the cape?
I couldn't find. I feel like maybe, but
wearing this beautiful cape.
Yeah,
the stars and the moon on it.
Moons and
and he's beaming.
Yes.
Over the fact that someone is still inspired by his work that he had to put away for years.
Yep.
And then we hear so cool.
His backstory.
Yeah. I love his backstory.
Why he doesn't like hearing shoes clicking in the train station.
His folks were cobblers.
They were shoemakers, and then they had a factory. And so they wanted him to work in their factory. And he was like, I don't want your shoes. All I like is the machinery.
Yeah.
And back then, a lot of the times people that like knew clocks and machines became magicians because they could make these machines that wowed people.
That's right.
And so he wanted to be a magician. So he finally, when he got old enough, he sold his share of the factory, was like, I'm done with you. Like, whatever. He bought a magic theater. So him and his wife did that for a while. And then they got into the movies and he was so excited. And then the war came and then there was too much competition. And he was like, I couldn't pay my employees. I didn't like telling them I couldn't pay it. And so he just kind of dropped off. And then one of his cameramen and his wife got into a car accident and died and left their daughter to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Isabel.
Isabel.
Yep. She was like, that was my parents. And he was like, yep.
Yeah, they were my friends, and it sucked that they are gone. And so yeah, she's an orphan now with them. It's a good thing she was with them, and
yeah.
And so now after all this stuff they hear,
yeah,
has shut down and is crushed by the fact that just the world, obviously, the movies aren't important because the war is a thing. And I get it, but you have to have the resources for the war. Yeah. The troops in France during that time, it was crazy. A lot of fighting, a lot of death, a lot of terrible things happened during World War One. So Hugo runs back to the train station. This is kind of the climax. This whole last couple chapters, all the climax.
Insane.
It's super fun. It's funny. Insane. Like you're freaking out the entire time for Hugo. Poor Hugo. He runs back.
Borderline panic attack while I'm reading these. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot what is happening. Like I completely forgot, because one good thing about not having a good memory, I remembered again nothing about this book. I remembered I loved it. I loved the pictures, and I read it in like 2 days. I absolutely remember loving it, and I remembered nothing about.
I think that's a sign of a good book, because you can't necessarily remember every piece of it, but you remember how it made you feel. I remember the same thing. I remember how it made me feel. I remember there was movies attached to it and clocks, and there was an old man and Hugo. Yeah, that's all I remember, and it was a very fun book. Yeah, and just beautiful drawings. But Hugo goes back to the train station.
Yep.
And now he's eager to bring the automaton back to Papa George's to show what he had fixed.
Rebuilt
this beautiful thing, and he's just such a master. He's such a beautiful mind now. Yeah, mechanical genius. But while walking, he sees some croissants and
this was
milk and croissants,
and this one I think was just ice.
No, milk and croissants. He snatches milk and croissants.
Because I thought it was too, but then I was doing my notes, and he said, so he stopped at the cafe to get some more ice, making sure no one was watching. He grabbed a handful as well as another bottle of milk.
No, I thought I saw croissants and milk.
I see no croissants in this chapter.
Oh, then I might have just added croissants.
Because I typed it too, and then I went and looked, and I was like, nope, just milk. All right.
Right. I must have wanted croissants.
Croissants are pretty good.
They are pretty good. I like them.
Especially chocolate filled one. I'm all about it.
God, no, that's amazing. Anyway, he but I swear the lady was like, "You're the one stealing my croissants and my milk."
Because he has stolen croissants from her before.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Anyway, so he starts overhearing about a body that was found up in the river.
Yep.
And it happened to be his uncle.
Yep.
He was dredged up. They lowered the water for some reason, and they cleaned out the river. Yeah. And they found him in there, and they presume that he was dead for years. But Hugo, no, he only disappeared a couple months ago.
Yes.
So, and now, of course, the ghost of the lady's like, there's the ghost fixing the clocks.
The timekeeper's here. He's doing no, ma'am. No.
Here.
You think
no. He's not.
If he was identified by his flask, do you really think he's going to come back to the train station and let's?
Right. He's going to the bar.
Exactly. He's not going to be haunting the train station. He's going to haunt the bar.
Yeah. So, long story short, he runs back to his place to get the automaton, and the station inspector bursts in.
Well, what happens first?
Oh, there's something happens first. My bad.
Something happens first because he overhears them, and he's like surprised. He's like, oh my God, he is dead, kind of a thing. And he drops the milk. And that's when. That's right.
And that's when, because then they take chase.
Because she's like, you're the one stealing from me. We got to catch him. And so then it's Monsieur Frick and then some chick, Madame Emile. Frick. Emily, Emile, I don't know. So they start chasing, and then they find the station inspector, and then he gets to his room, and then they bust in the door.
Yeah, there you go. Now busting the door.
Yep.
And then there's this crazy, I think there's a little bit of a chase.
Well, they chase him to his room, like he's sprinting.
Yeah.
And then he gets to his room. He's trying to figure out what to do with the mechanical man. And as he's trying to figure out how to carry it and how to bring it out, but he can't because his hand hurts.
Yeah.
Because it's a hefty machine.
It's a hefty sucker, yeah.
Yep. The station inspector busts down the door. I think he thinks it was Isabel. Yeah, he
thought it was Isabel to kind of help him out.
Yeah, he hears a knock, and then he says, Isabel, with a great deal of force, the door flew open. And it says, for a moment, all Hugo could see was green. And I'm assuming that's what the station inspector wears, but
Probably.
We don't see the colors. So
we can't see colors.
Yeah.
But so in this tussle and chase, the automaton is picked up, dropped, and presumably broken, like the neck bent.
Something like that.
Was that what I call? And in the moving through the station, I thought he moved through the station, and then moving through the station, he runs into a crowd and they end up picking him up.
Yes, I thought you meant he had the mechanical man. I was like, I don't think so.
He abandoned that thing. He self-preservation.
That's why I was like,
self-preservation beats curiosity in this point. I don't blame the kid. So, and now he's imprisoned. The station inspector takes him to a cell in the station.
Yep, and he's also a dick.
Yeah, the station. Oh yeah. He's got this terrible you're gonna get it, kid.
Yeah.
Like jerk. Like what the hell?
No, I was like, I don't like you. Okay.
Yeah, and he's doing you a favor.
A literal child, exactly.
Yeah, and like there is some dark, like menacing crap. Like the police get called.
Yeah,
and they're not nice either.
No, I'm
worried for this kid.
Literal child. Like, what's gonna happen when you leave here? Like,
yeah. And they're like joking about it. It's kind of disgusting. And so Hugo senses danger, and obviously, he sees an opening. They go in to go get him. They open the freaking cage door, and he's like, "Peace out, yo!" And he just leaves, sprints out. Thank God he's small.
For real.
Yeah, and he goes out, and now he's
agile.
Yeah, very agile. And now he's off. He goes through the train station. Yep. And he is double backing back, seeing people trying to catch him, ends up on the freaking train tracks.
My heart during this part.
Oh, yeah. I
was like, how do I not remember this? Like, what is happening right now?
What I love is the train's coming after him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the inspector's got me. So snatches them up. He's like, damn it, I'm caught. Ends up being Papa George's. And I'm like, oh, cool. But I love going backwards. There was they talk about the first film ever was called Train Station.
Yeah.
And I was like, what beautiful foreshadowing. And I was like, well done.
I did not make that connection until this moment. So thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. That's why we work together. I was like, what beautiful foreshadowing. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then snatched him up. And he gets taken back to the inspector's station or office, and then all is explained. No criminal charge or anything, because it was pretty lax back in the 30s. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I made notes because I was like, he gets back to the cell area, right? And the police officer or the station inspector, whoever, is like, we think he might be involved in his uncle's death. Drowned. Like, can we, like, you are ridiculous. This kid is 12. You know that. Chill. That was clearly an accident.
Oh, yeah. I mean, nowadays we'd be like, no, there's no freaking way. But like back then, they're like, if this kid is stealing, because when you think of like early medical, because people were still measuring people's heads to say if they were intelligent. Remember this crap? That was like stupid. So, and it's like, no, he is now a thief, right? He's a thief.
Yep.
He's been sneaking around. He's an orphan. Okay. Yep. And then he was a ward of the state, essentially. So obviously he's an idiot.
Clearly.
And a derelict, or not derelict, but a vagabond and a menace to the city, and can commit murder.
Yes.
Because stealing milk and croissants, murder. That makes sense.
Same thing.
Nice line.
I put the police officer thinks Hugo might be involved in the death of his uncle in parentheses, which is ridiculous, but okay. Hugo says he's been running the clocks. The inspector says that's ridiculous. And I'm like, okay, like he can murder someone, but God forbid he knows how to work clocks. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I can't be mechanically inclined or anything.
No, I
No.
then Papa George's takes him and Isabel home, and then I put in parentheses, I'm assuming after they grab the mechanical man.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
hear all this, and he's saved. He's now living with the Milliers and Isabel, which is
Yes.
super cool. They flash forward 6 months, and it's
Yes.
amazing.
Hugo's all dapper now. He's got a haircut. He's in a tux. He's looking nice.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going good.
Yep. And they come to an honor night.
Yeah. I got chills during these last two chapters.
I
I
did
was like,
too.
this is beautiful.
And actually, I think it's pretty spot on information wise. Like of George Méliès, but and they just show pictures of the early films.
I loved those.
I was like, those are just cool. It captured 80 of the 240 films he made.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. And
yes.
I'm like, I wonder how long these films were. They could have been very long. Had it been a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Back then, from my knowledge of Disney and stuff, I know that movies weren't super long. Full-length features were not very well known, and if they were right. People, and usually silent films, and then they kind of gradually became talkies.
Well, actually, Walt Disney really took a chance with Snow White.
He did,
because no one's going to sit through a 90-minute film.
Cartoon,
not even a film,
animated
cartoon. Yeah,
exactly.
No one's going to do this.
Yeah.
By the way, I just realized, I just read or listened to something about that. He figured 250,000 cells would have to be drawn for the movie. It was closer to 1 million.
The way movies were made, animated movies were made back then,
it's amazing,
insane. And that's Chris and I were talking about that with The Simpsons, because I just watch that to fall asleep, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I tend to just kind of restart it once I get to some point, because I don't want it to end in the middle of the night and then wake up to, but whatever. So we were watching the later seasons, and Chris was like, I don't really like this new animation. I was like, I mean, I really like the old stuff. And he was like, you can just tell. He's like, I don't think anything is really drawn anymore. He's like, I think it's all digital. And I was like, exactly. I was like,
digital.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. Oh, my bad. My numbers are wrong. 500 in total accredited films to George Méliès. Wild.
Was it more than 80? Or was it only 80?
80 films found.
Okay.
I wrote that number down, and 500 in total. And what was cool is Hugo ends up basically learning how to become a magician.
Yep.
Which I thought was really cool. So learn to become a magician. He knows how to work all those awesome things. And I'm like, so it's just really neat how it roundabout. I love that Brian Selznick was a illustrator for children's books and ends up writing this.
Yeah. I mean, this book is
form.
So good. And I love that they have the little bits that loop around to everything. Any little drop has a connection later. I put in talking about the magic tricks and stuff, and Tien does the little eye patch one, and then Hugo's just really into it, and then he sees Papa George is doing magic tricks, and he's
the cards.
He's like, oh my god, I want to see, can you show me what you do with the cards exactly? And it's just so interesting, because with the train, I didn't even think about the first train movie. And then he also talks about that big train accident that happens at the train station where it fell out of which the picture was wild.
Yes.
There's just so many little
three things that kind of connected it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So cool.
Love the book. I would reread it again in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Because it's just so good, and it's a quick read too. It almost feels like a novella size.
Yeah.
In time.
Yeah.
It took me to read it.
And it's such a good story.
It is. It's so wonderful, and it's simple. It's simple yet complicated. It's kind of odd. It's not too complicated. It's complicated enough where you've got some mystery and question, why is this the way it is? Oh, it's answered pretty quickly, and then there's more questions. So it's kind of peeling like an onion. I love how it's done.
Yeah, it keeps you interested the whole time, and I really, really loved the final chapter. It's kind of like the next book we're going to talk about, the final chapter of that one, almost, where this chapter is written, quote unquote, by Hugo Cabret.
Yeah.
Stating his father did save him. He built his own mechanical man, and that mechanical man tells the story of Georges Méliès. And I put chills, because I was like,
love that part. Yes. It's so good.
So cool.
It's just so an homage, and there's a lot of love and passion and pursue your dreams kind of a thing. It's just very nice. And
Yes.
it's not without fraught, obviously. You know, you have some pain and anguish in there too.
I was angry at a couple of these spots. I was like,
yeah, me too.
bro,
Ridiculous.
what are we doing?
Yeah. So, okay. So let's get to our rating. We have our rating is we have 3 kinds. You have top shelf.
Yeah.
You have medium shelf, because that's literally what it is. Mid shelf.
Yep.
And I'm just going to go with the third one as well. Well is the bottom shelf. Very, very low quality. What will we call this one?
I'm going to call it a top shelf because I would reread it every day until the day I die. Like every day.
I don't know if I read it every day the day I die, but I would definitely read it every year because I want to digest it again later and maybe forget a few things, be surprised.
If I leave it for a year, I will forget at least 90% of this book.
You get to experience it again.
Yay!
Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, I think I dub this a top shelf book as well. So
it's so good.
It is so good. But all right, cool. Guys, go check this book out. I know if you listen to the whole thing, you probably have already heard it already. Maybe you didn't want to read it. Go read it anyway because the pictures are really great.
The illustrations blow me away. They're so beautiful.
Good. It's like they're like drawn in pencil almost.
They're like sketches, but like, oh, I love them.
Sketches, detailed sketches,
very detailed sketches.
So fun. So, all right, Ems, this has been awesome.
Yes, it has.
Yes. All right. So
yes.
Yeah. Yes. So we'll sign off here. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode of Top Shelf Book Club, and come on back for the next one.
Heck yeah.
And keep reading, guys. Send us some suggestions for books we want to go through. Yeah, yes. I love a good suggestion too. It's got to be a good suggestion. Can't be a crappy one. Or you know what? Send us a crappy book and then we'll just roast the shit out of it.
And then it will be a well book, but not like a good well, like a bad well.
Like a bad, rotten, gross well, full of gangrene and disgustingness.
Ew.
I wanted to paint that ugly, so
you did. That was a very ugly picture you painted.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
But Hugo Cabret, amazing.
10 out of 10.
Yes, 10 out of 10. All right, Ems. Love you. We'll talk later.
Heck yeah.
All right, guys. Take care. Enjoy this, and come back next time. Peace.
Yes. Peace.